I have a tendency to slouch. I don't want to be news anchor, but
It's the 6 o'clock news. You ready? Hello!
Hi.
Welcome back to the Nitty Gritty. We're so getting used to this.
You're going to have to bear with us while we work through the initial kinks of this. We're going to get better with time.
We will.
We'll
And
get
also,
there.
like, pre-warning, we have a viewfinder, or not a viewfinder, like a little screen down here.
Yeah.
We'll probably look at that.
So if you catch us looking down in this corner a lot, it's because we're looking at ourselves.
We're looking at ourselves, yeah.
It's great, but also a problem at the same time, because it's hard to look away.
It is.
And if you see a stray hair, you really want to do something about it.
Yeah, do I have a straight
No,
hair? Okay.
I have had some. Yours looks great. I've had some.
Yes. Well, welcome back to our second episode.
Yes.
We told you that this wouldn't be all about head lice, and today we're not talking about head lice.
We're not. Sorry, thought I had a sneeze coming on there. I'm gonna sneeze on you.
That would make for a good video, though.
It would make for a great video.
Yeah.
Also, a picture in my mind of the spread of germs. I'm a little bit of a germaphobe.
Clean freak, germaphobe.
Germaphobe. I admit it.
All the phobes.
Most of the phobes.
all
Phobias.
All there.
Phobia. Made me think of Phoebe, made me think of Friends.
What about Friends?
We're
Big Friends.
big Friends fans. We're having a baby, we mentioned in the last episode. Not Courtney and
Chandler.
No. Chandler is not on the list of names. Peter would not allow it. Chandler Bong. No, Phoebe reminded me, or Phobia reminded me of Phoebe, which reminded me of her
Phoebo.
Yes, thank you. See, do you see how that works? She knew where I was going, and she got there without me even having to say it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Phobo. Phoebo.
Not Phobo. Phoebo. Phoebo.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be on the list either.
What were the other names that Rachel and Ross? The veto episode.
Ruth.
Baby Ruth.
Oh,
Rain.
Sandrine.
I think I like Sandrine.
Darwin. That was one of the
Oh, that's right.
Want our child to get hurt?
Yeah.
Or beat up on the playground? Or
Yeah, whatever
something
it was.
around that.
Yeah.
My husband and I were having a veto session this morning via text message. In fact, it's been happening every day since we found out we're having a boy. But
Boy names are hard.
so much harder.
They are hard. We had a really hard time picking out boy names. I mean, we came up with Knox and Ace. And my husband's a teacher, so...
That really ruins a lot of names.
It does. It does, because there's the instant a-hole factor.
Yeah.
You know?
I knew this kid. No.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you want it to be unique and stuff, but you don't want it to be, like,
Made up.
too outlandish.
Yes.
You know? So it's...
Yeah.
It was a fine line.
It's a fine line. It's
And
a
a
very
balance.
fine line. And it seems like you look at name lists and there are way more options for girls than there are boys.
Well, that's like everything in life.
Well,
Clothes, names, toys, all of it.
Yeah. It's gonna be a different experience for
It will
sure.
be. It will be.
And having started out with a girl, I had, there were way more names to choose from. The clothing options, like the selection was much bigger. So now it's kind of this whole different area that I'm like,
Well, and
I don't
really,
even know.
they should just make like a clothing line that's called like grass stains and dirt.
grass stains and dirt. They should.
Pre-made
It's
in.
genius.
Pre-made in.
Yeah.
No one take that idea. I'm taking it. I'm going.
We're going to
with it.
copyright that today.
Yeah.
Grass stains and dirt.
Grass
for
stains
future
and dirt.
line.
Yeah.
For future line.
And dirt
For
and
sure.
grass stains.
Yes.
Go both ways. But I mean, it's just constantly dirty.
Yeah.
And snot. There's a lot of snot. I feel like that's any kid, but
And drool.
yeah, my kids weren't droolers.
Well, that wasn't really like a drooler per se. They have to wear like a bib kind of drooler, but
Yeah.
I'm just there always just seems to be like spit.
That's
or
true.
Something.
Yeah. My youngest, Ace, he's 2. He has like has a weird, like, when he talks sometimes, there's a lot of spit involved.
Like, it comes out, like, the corners.
No, it doesn't come out, but I'm always afraid. It is. It sounds like there's a lot of spit in his mouth, but it never comes out, thank goodness. But, they're not big. They're not big drollers, so.
Let's just be honest. Kids are gross.
They are gross.
They're just gross.
Yeah. It kind of links in a little bit to our topic of the day.
Yes.
Which is tantrums. And the stupid tantrums that our kids have.
At various ages, also. It's like we mentioned in the last episode. Mm-hmm. Have you ever met... so we're talking about my daughter being strong-willed. And I'm like... Well, aren't all toddlers strong-willed? Have you ever met a toddler who didn't want their way?
Yeah, no.
Or just completely lose their mind when they didn't get their way? Because I've yet to meet one. And I feel like I've been around a few.
A unicorn. Yeah. Definitely a unicorn.
Yeah, very rare. So, Belle's tantrum of the week is... there's always something new every week. Or every day, really.
Oh, yeah.
But this week, the focus has been the fact that I committed the ultimate sin... And I went shopping, which I rarely have the time to do anymore. And it's just life, like fitting that in with work and mom and life and just life in general.
Yeah.
So I go shopping, and I've always been an anti-slipper kind of girl. I've never been a slipper fan. I like my bare feet or socks. It's not my thing. But lately, some of the Instagrammers that I've been following have been posting these amazing slippers. And we live in an older home that has hard floors throughout. So the floors get cold in the winter. We don't have radiant heating, which, God willing, in the next place we will.
Yeah.
And so I see these slippers. We're at Target. I'm at Target. We're at Target. Well, me and baby.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
You're aware.
I'm aware.
Weird.
I'm in Target and I spot these slippers and they look like heaven. And I'm cheap. So I'm like, well, it just depends on what they cost. So I go over and they look $14.99. Sold.
Yeah.
I will pay $14.99 for a pair of slippers that look like you skinned a chinchilla. I don't really want you to skin a chinchilla because I'm an animal lover. I don't do fur.
Yeah.
But I like the look and the soft texture of this faux chinchilla, we'll call it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Faux.
High emphasis on the faux.
Yeah.
Anyways, I buy these slippers and I get home and I wait until after. So I pick my daughter up from preschool, feed her lunch, put her down for a nap, and then I bring out all the stuff that I got and I just sneak it into my room because anytime you get anything, they want it too.
Oh, of course.
And you're a horrible person if you didn't get them something. Also, I got her these super cute hair ties at Old Navy, which were a little overpriced Old Navy, but they were cute and she needed something and it was right there at the checkout. So I went with it.
Well, they always get you right there.
They do. You know what they're doing. Yeah. So I get the clothes put away and she's not really going to notice those. Those are going to kind of like flow out with the usual stuff and she won't notice. But these slippers, I immediately want to wear them because they're like heaven for my feet.
Right.
I put them on and I've never been so in love. I'm a reformed slipper hater. I'm no longer a slipper hater and I live in these slippers when I get home until it's time to go to bed. So she wakes up from her nap and she immediately notices.
Of course. Well, you don't wear shoes.
I want slippers. Why didn't you get me any? And I'm like, oh... I can't have anything.
No.
I can't have anything.
No.
So I break down and I'm like, how long do I want this tantrum to last? Because she has a tendency to
they hold on forever.
Hold on to these things.
Hold on forever.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, I'm going to hop on Amazon. I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to let her look and choose and I hope to God she doesn't choose a really hideous pair. But whatever. I mean, if it's cheap, okay.
Yeah.
So she picks a pair, and they're unicorn, of course. That's the thing right now.
Like with a little horn and everything?
Oh. They're actually kind of cute. And it's not really my thing, but it's pretty cute.
Yeah.
So we pick out this pair, but the whole time she's still crying. And I don't want them to be here on Wednesday. I'm like, you don't even know. We have Prime. This is... It's first world problem.
Yeah.
You don't even know.
Oh,
we used to have to wait weeks for shipping.
Oh.
And, well,
shipping, I mean, that was like if you ordered something out of like...
a catalog, a Sears catalog.
A JCPenney catalog that came twice a year.
Yeah.
Like...
My mom wasn't doing that.
No.
And there would be no way. It would be like, oh, honey, if Amazon Prime existed, then let me pull it up for you and pick you out a pair of slippers.
Yeah, no. Mine was like, if they have it at Mervyn's, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So these slippers come.
Yes.
And she doesn't say anything about it when I get home yesterday before I put my slippers on. I'm like, oh, good. Okay. I didn't want to give them to her because she was kind of naughty at school yesterday.
Oh, did she bite a kid?
No, she didn't bite. She was puddle jumping with these little boys that she's friends with in her class.
Yeah.
And just kind of did the whole follower thing, which is unusual because normally she's the leader of the pack. But they were puddle jumping. She didn't have rain boots on. She got her clothes filthy, her shoes soaked, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to give her these slippers after we'd had this long discussion over behavior and listening to the teacher and whatnot. So
Oh, did she disobey the teacher with it?
Well, the teacher told her no, and then she continued to do it. So yeah. So
I was like,
so, yeah.
puddles.
No.
Used to it.
She was instructed not to, and she continued to do it anyway. She gets that from her dad. So anyway, so I had these slippers away, and I'm like, okay, she's not even asked me about them. We're going to get past this. So I go back to the room. I get comfortable clothes on. I put my slippers on, and immediately, where are my slippers? You said they'd be on Wednesday.
That's impressive that she knows what day it is.
She does when she's getting something.
Okay.
So that's the ticket. Anyway, so that's been the drama of the week, the tantrum of the week repeatedly is these slippers. So I'm hoping behavior's good today. She does everything she's supposed to do so I can give her these slippers.
Oh, so you didn't give them to her yesterday?
No, I waited. So it's all dependent upon behavior
You're so
today.
Strong.
Thank you.
She's strong.
There are a couple moments where I was going to break last night and I'm like, no, you have to prove a point.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, for the love. Like,
just throw it at you.
You want candy?
Get out of here.
Get away.
Do you want $100?
Yeah.
Here you go. Will I make you go away?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, you're in the thick of it, though.
Mm-hmm.
3 was so hard. I mean, I have a 6-year-old. He has tantrums. They're not as, big, and I can, tell him to, get away from me, go. And he will, which is awesome. And thank goodness, because he's a little more independent now, I can, cut the umbilical cord and just, go play, go away, get going.
Get out of my face.
Ace, I know I'm building up to it. I know I'm building up to tantrum. I mean, he has tantrums every now and then, but then
3 is a whole other level.
You get to 3 and it is oh my gosh. Yeah, and I will never forget, and I know you've heard this story.
Okay.
But it wasn't even a tantrum. It was more of me trying to prove a point.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
With the dog, with Winnie. So we had a dog named Winnie. May she rest in peace. Mm-hmm. Winnie was a blind diabetic dog. And I mean, when we got her, she was a puppy. She was not blind and diabetic. Those came later. And, she was my first baby. And then, we rocked her world and brought this little hellion into our lives.
Ruined her life.
Ruined her life. Well, Knox, one day, he had this little cleaning set. And he had this broom, and he's just whacking Winnie on her back. And I'm like, Knox, knock it off. I mean, it wasn't hitting her hard. It wasn't animal abuse or anything like that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're talking about chinchillas.
It's a line there, yeah. We love animals.
We love animals. Yeah. And so I'm constantly like, Knox, stop. You can't keep hitting the dog. And I'm like, if you do that again, I'm throwing this away. And, dead in the eyes.
Oh, it's on. You want to challenge?
And I was like, oh, give it. And I wanted to make a really lasting impact. And I take that broom and I'm just, and I'm going to whack it over my knee, thinking I'm going to the classic and throw it away. That thing is made. I don't know what kind of super plastic that stupid broom was made out of, but God, it just hurts. It was like I punished myself. It just bounces right off my leg. And I'm like, okay, it's not breaking.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw
it away. Throw it
I'm
in.
still mad.
Don't mess with me. So yeah, that was like our big one. And then the fire truck, which...
Oh, yeah, the fire truck.
Always. He still remembers this day. And he was maybe 2. I mean, he was 2. He wasn't quite 3. But we threw his fire truck. Mind you, he had like 5.
And we didn't have enough.
Yeah, he still remembers it. And we've been now threatening to throw things away with Ace. And Knox, like, will go and like,
no, don't do it. Don't do it.
It's like, he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't. I'm like, are you trying to save your brother from that trauma?
Yeah, the fire truck trauma. Yeah, he's gonna be telling his therapist about this later in life.
It's so true. Oh my gosh.
This all comes back to the time my mom and dad threw away my favorite fire truck.
You're welcome.
Hey, we have to establish these boundaries.
I always remember though there was a lady when we found out we were pregnant. She was like, my number one parenting advice was you have to stick with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And she was like, one time my daughter and my son were fighting and they were going down the freeway and she was like, if you guys don't stop fighting, I'm going to throw this doll out the window. And they didn't stop and she was
straight up on the freeway?
On the freeway. Like, how horrifying would that be if you're like the car behind?
See this baby doll flying out the window? Like,
yeah.
I wonder if anyone called this out. We're not entirely sure. We just saw it. It might have been a baby or a doll. I
don't really know. But yeah, and so like that always stuck with me, and I'm like, okay, I gotta follow through with what I say.
Really make a lasting impression.
Yeah, and so we haven't had to throw a lot of toys away.
I mean, once you do like that big thing, and it sticks with them.
Yeah, I mean,
then like after that, you kind of like you scarred them, you paved the way, and now you can just lean on that a little bit, so to
for
speak.
At least a year.
Yeah,
at least a year. I mean, we've thrown some other things away or hid them, and then I forget about them, and then I find them later. But yeah. I mean, it's just.
I thought of you the time, and Courtney knows this story. So Courtney's son oldest son is older than my daughter, so she's shared a lot of this stuff with me. And I went shopping with my daughter one day, and we stopped to get Starbucks. And we always let her get a little almond milk and let her think it's a coffee. We call it a coffee. And from time to time, we would let her pick out the little hit peas snack to have while we're there. So we go in, and we're in line, and we're getting coffees, and she wants to grab the hit peas. And I'm like, no, we're going to go home right after this. We're going to have lunch. I don't want you to fill up on these hit peas and not eat your lunch.
No.
And that was completely unacceptable to her. And she just lost her mind in the middle of Starbucks, and it's full of people because it's connected to a grocery store in town, so it's always packed full. And we're walking out the door. I'm trying to balance my purse, her like doing the throwback, and
like stiff body,
two coffees, and she straight up just punches me in the face. And I have never been so angry in my life. And I'm trying to keep my cool and like not cause a scene in the store.
Trying to not get CPS calls on you.
Straight face, but I was mad. We get to the car, I put her in her seat, and I put our coffees up front with me, and I just give her the silent treatment the whole way home. Because I remember when my mom did that to me, if we ever acted up in the store, it terrified me to my core.
You knew.
Because you knew when you got home, it was all over for you. Granted, she's too, right? So it's like, there's only,
of course,
so much they understand and whatnot at that point. So it's a silent ride the whole way home, and she's back there from me, and she's back there, Mom, like, no, don't even talk to me, no. And we get home, and I'm like, what am I going to do? How am I going to prove my point that this was unacceptable? And I remember the fire truck.
Gotta assert your dominance.
I did. And I have never been so proud of myself as a parent. So I get out of the car, I take her out, and I grab her coffee, and I strut over to the garbage can, and I lift up the lid, and I threw it in. I was like, see? I was like, you're grounded from coffee for 2 weeks. Yeah. And then in my mind, I'm like, you just yelled at a 2-year-old that she's grounded from coffee for 2 weeks.
Doesn't matter.
But, oh, it felt good. And I really, it got through to her, and it didn't last that long, because it was a coffee, it wasn't a fire truck, it wasn't a favorite toy.
Yeah.
But it stuck with her, and she was grounded. We would go to coffee, and she wouldn't get any.
Did she cry after that?
She did. She did cry. I don't think she threw a tantrum after that I recall, although I was still a little bit in a blind rage from being punched in the face in the middle of a Starbucks. That
in a public place.
That's the worst.
Is the worst. A tantrum in a public place is the worst. And I personally, and oh my gosh, thank goodness, in power to the people that can be the people that just, the parents that stand there and let them have their moment. No. I cannot be that person.
I'm like anxiety. And I'm like, you're embarrassing me.
Yeah. Come on. That's fine.
This poor woman. All this seems to happen at Starbucks. This poor woman, I was in Target earlier this week at the Starbucks. And Belle and I are in line. Worlds apart from this story I just told you. Belle is much better behaved in public places now most of the time. Thank God. And this poor woman comes in. She's got a cart full of stuff. And she's got what looks to be about a 4-year-old daughter, standing. And then maybe like a 15-month-ish boy in the seat of the cart. And this poor woman just wants some coffee.
Oh, well, yeah. She's got 2 kids.
Her daughter just throws a full-on tantrum, loses her mind, throwing herself on the floor. And this Target Starbucks is really cramped. There's not a lot of room to maneuver a giant cart.
That's the thing that I never get. Why isn't there enough room for a cart?
I don't know.
There's 2.
I don't get it. There's a lot of space in there, but they have it so packed full of stuff that you can't maneuver your cart around. And if you have a toddler throwing a fit, you need emergency exits that are clearly visible
3 different
with
exits.
A full cart.
Mm-hmm.
Full cart. Mm-hmm. So the daughter's on the ground throwing this fit, and this mom is trying as hard as can be to be calm. And then the 15-month-old in the cart starts losing it too because the sister is throwing a fit. So this poor woman is scrambling with both these kids, and I had this moment where I was like, should I just send her outside and offer to buy her coffee and bring it out to her? Because
gotta stick together.
Girl deserved a coffee.
Yeah.
She deserved a coffee of any kind she wanted. Maybe 2. But then I didn't want to interject and embarrass her more.
It's such a weird fine line, because
you want to be I'm here for you, sister.
Yeah,
got you.
I got you.
But then you don't want to embarrass or upset.
Exactly. Because I know that if my kids were throwing a fit, I'd just be like, oh my god, so more. And then when people are like, it's okay, we've all been there. You're like, I don't care about that right in this second.
Yeah.
I might reflect on it later.
Right.
But
or if the kid had stopped throwing the tantrum and then someone said something and you kind of calm down a little bit from it, then you can be like, yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that.
Yeah. But at that moment, it's tunnel vision. It's, I need to just...
Fight or flight.
Yeah, oh my God.
Fight or flight.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It is just, I need to go.
Can't get out.
Yeah, kids are tough. Kids are tough.
The tantrum part is the toughest part.
Yeah, and this will probably not be the last video you hear about tantrums.
No, I feel like we could even film a segment of Tantrum of the Week.
Tantrum of the Week.
Or, until when we get up and running, we could do Tantrum of the Week. Until then, we could just do Tantrum of the Month.
That's true. Tantrum of the Month.
I have a whole list of things that I probably could jot down if I really put my mind to it.
Well, there's usually, 30 days? So there's
on average about 30 tantrums a month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Except for when they're at their grandparents' house.
Have kids, they said. I know. Oh. That's the part that gets me the most is, so you are talking to people about these, tantrums, your friends or family or whoever, and you're explaining these things and you're like, oh my God, it was awful. She punched me in the face. And then your child's around these people and they're like,
Angel babies.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much. I love you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
School, I'm always afraid, you know, that I'm going to get, like, the call from school saying, like, Knox has really, you know, done one. And I'm, like, I'm always concerned. But every time I go, he's such a well-behaved. He's so sweet. He's such a good friend. And I'm like, like, what? I mean, I know deep down he is.
Right.
But
They all are.
Like, nothing?
It's a tough time to navigate and to keep your cool and to just know that they're not in control of their emotions at this point. And it's like for you to guide them. And, you know, you could read all of these articles and you know, they just need to do this, that, and the other thing.
They're exploring.
And don't get me wrong, I think there's truth to a lot of that. But when you're in the heat of the moment, it's the fight or flight. Yep. How am I going to make it through this?
Yep. And it's just, I mean, because let's be real, I want to throw tantrums sometimes.
All the time. I can think about something every day. I want to throw a tantrum. Oh, yeah. You never lose the urge to do that. We just learn to sequester it as we get older.
Yep. Yeah. And it's just what age does that happen?
Yeah. I don't know.
So.
Could do a sampling.
But I think that's all we have.
That's a wrap for today.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us again. Make sure you hit the like button.
Yes.
And subscribe to the Nitty
Gritty.
So we'll see you next time.
Yes.
Bye.
Cheers.